week's Parsha Kisovai, something very nice from the Rebbe's father, Rabbi Yitzchok Zatzal. In this week's Parsha, we have the mitzvah of Bikurim. When a Jew would come to Yerushalayim, he would bring his new fruits, the basket, and he would thank Hashem for Eretz Yisrael, a land which Hashem blessed with milk and honey, chol v'dvash. Rabbi Yitzchok has a very interesting explanation, which we're going to talk today on the subject of dvash, honey. Rabbi Yitzchok wrote a letter to the Rebbe right before Yom Kippur in the year 1938, Dovid Sadik Ches. And he ties many interesting things about Yom Kippur with the concept of dvash. And it seems like he's referring there to on Yom Kippur, we dip into honey, and also we have lekach, honey. But he ties now many things about Yom Kippur. Number one, in the morning we do kaporos with a chicken, white chicken. Also, it's called kaporos from the word Yom Kippur. Everything has a meaning, the word Yom Kippur. Also, a famous thing, the Gemara says, a Kohen Gadol who did a service in the temple on Yom Kippur had to have a wife. He had to ask forgiveness for himself and his household. Beisoy zu ishtoi. If he didn't have a wife, he couldn't do the avodah. What's the connection to wife and Yom Kippur? Also, the Gemara says in Tainus, the Chavova Medbeis, Yom Kippur was a time where in the afternoon, the young girls would go out in the fields and look for shidduchim, a time of blessing of shidduchim. What's the connection? And the last thing, a father gives a bracha to his child. And what does he say? Yisimcha lekim ke'Ephraim u'Menashe. First thing is Hashem should bless you like Ephraim. What's the connection with Ephraim? Ties Rabbi Levi something very interesting altogether. Dvash adds up to 306. Dalet Beis Shin. It's the same gematria as Isha. Aleph Shin Hey adds up to 306. Kippur, Yom Kippur, look at the word Kippur. Chof Pei Vav Reish, 306. We see a connection over here, the same numerical value of Isha, a wife, Dvash, honey, and also Kippur. Says Rabbi Yitzchok, the key bracha and tefillah and request of Yom Kippur and the blessing of Yom Kippur, the Yidden to the Eibishter, just like at that day on Yom Kippur, the Gemara says, we mentioned before, in Tainus Daf Chavava Mebeis, is the day b'Yom Chasanosoi, the day when it completed the marriage between the Eibishter and Yidden. And the tachlis, the goal of marriage is to have children. Puruvu, that is also the connection of all these things. And now you'll understand, first to explain Rabbi Yitzchok, why a chicken? It's known in many places in Shas that the concept of the blessing of Puruvu, a person should multiply and be fruitful, is compared to a Tarna girl. The Gemara has an interesting story. For example, in Mesichte Gittin, Daf Nun Zayin Amud Aleph, and here you see how every name in Torah is so exact. The Gemara says a story like this. There was a place called Tur Malka, which means the top of the mountain. That's the name in our Aramaic. Tur Malka. They had a custom, every time a chassan kala would go out to the chuppah, a chicken and a rooster would walk in front of them. Why? To say they should be blessed like the chicken and the rooster, which multiply very often. The Gemara says in Mesichte Shabbos, the Flamed Amud Aleph, that the relationship of a chicken and a rooster is very often, and that's why a chicken lays eggs almost every day. So the blessing of being fruitful and multiply is connected to a chicken. Now look at the interesting thing over here. Tur Malka, if you add the numerical value, Tes Vav Reish adds up to 215. Malka, 91. 215 and 91, 306. All connected over here. Dvash, Isha, Yom Kippur, Tur Malka, the chicken, the rooster that went in front of them, the mitzvah of the blessing of Puruvu, you shall have children. And this is what the Levi says. A Kohen Gadol had to be married to show that the tachlis of the bracha, of the unity of the Eibishter with Yidden on that day, has to also mirror in our relationship down in this world, that even though Yom Kippur alone, a person is elevated from the physical needs, he's not involved in procreation on that day. The physical body, as explained from the Arizal, is elevated in a very high level, higher than food and all physical needs. But from that day comes the bracha for the rest of the year from Pruvu to have children. And that's why we use a chicken in the morning. And that's why we dip in honey, davash, gematria from Isha. And that's why the Kohen Gadol had to have a wife. And that's the blessing of the father to children. Yesimcha lekim ke Ephraim. Why Ephraim? So the word Ephraim comes ki hifruni elekim. Yosef said, Hashem multiplied me from the word pruvu. That's the name of Ephraim, the root of the word, the etymology of the word. Ki hifruni, pruvu. And all this is connected with the tachlis hakavana that all Yidden on Yom Kippur should be blessed. And that's why it's the same gematria, Yom Kippur, Ishtoi. Everything comes that everyone should be blessed with having children. That's the tachlis hakavana from the mitzvah, from the bracha, from Yom Kippur. And that's why it translates in so many different interesting ways. And that's why that day they looked for shidduchim. Many, many beautiful explanations and connections with Davash, the beautiful messages. Davash is connected to honey, Isha, the wife, same gematria.